Sri Lanka is passing through an acute economic crisis due to depletion in foreign reserves, which in turn has resulted in shortages of fuel, food, medicines, cement and other essential items in the country. Sri Lankan government is hopeful that with the policy measures initiated so far and with the improvement in the COVID-19 situation, it would overcome the crisis soon. The situation on the ground, as well as the analyses of government's policy measures, global geopolitical economic developments including the fallout of Russia-Ukraine war, nonetheless suggest that Sri Lankans are not going to feel the economic relief anytime sooner. Opposition and public criticism against government's handling of the crisis is intensifying in Sri Lanka. Let's try to understand how Sri Lankan's economy got squeezed badly in this video.
Intensity of the crisis.
Sri Lanka is going through its worst economic crisis since 1948, when the country gained independence. The prices of essential items like food, fuel and medicines have skyrocketed. A kilogram of rice costs 500 Sri Lankan rupees and sugar 290 rupees. There has been a decline in foreign reserves since August 2020, but in November 2021 it dipped to a precarious level, see Figure 1. It was just enough for meeting 1 month's import. Reportedly, the gross foreign reserves dropped 24% further in January 2022 to $2.3 billion. Depletion in foreign reserves has led to uncertainty about Sri Lankan government's ability to account for import of essential items and debt servicing. Sri Lankan authorities have acknowledged that they are facing increasing difficulty in settling the import bills due to the dollar crunches, particularly for imports of fuel for daily requirements. The situation on the ground, as well as the analyses of government's policy measures and global geopolitical economic developments including the fallout of Russia-Ukraine war, nonetheless suggest that a state of uncertainty is hovering over Sri Lankan economy.
Foreign reserve crisis.
Since its independence, trade deficit has been a consistent feature of Sri Lankan economy, as its import bill has always been more than the revenue earned through export. Huge amount of the foreign exchange earned is being consumed to pay for the import bill for years. In recent years, debt servicing commitment of the government has put additional pressure on the foreign reserves. On the other hand, foreign exchange inflow to the country declined first due to the impact of Easter Sunday attack on tourism sector in 2019 and then due to the outbreak of global pandemic which severely affected all the main foreign currency earning sectors of Sri Lanka, namely, tourism, remittances, and export. Due to the foreign reserves crisis, the country is facing severe fuel shortages leading to daily power cuts, shortage of food, medicines, cement and other essential items. Long queues in front of grocery stores, pharmacies, and fuel depots in many parts of Sri Lanka indicate the shortage of essential items. Importers are finding it difficult to get letter of credit, LOC, issued from the banks due to lack of foreign currency in the country. As a result, many of the containers are stuck at the Colombo port for several days since payments are not settled. Due to shortage of fuel, many power plants have to be kept shut, which is resulting in power crisis in the country. Some power plants are resorting to hydro energy using the waters basically used for irrigation purposes. Due to insufficient rains and increased use of reservoirs for the power plants, water shortage is anticipated which, as per experts, will badly affect agricultural production and may lead to food crisis. According to the All Island Private Pharmacy Owners Association, a severe drug shortage is looming as the existing backup stocks of medicines are due to be used up within 3 months. Reportedly, Sri Lanka has a 5% shortage of required medicines. Another fallout of the depletion of foreign reserves is downgrading of Sri Lanka's sovereign ratings by the international rating agencies. It has impacted the investors' confidence to invest in Sri Lanka as the country has been put in the high-risk category of defaulting the debt servicing. There have been calls for effective measures by the government to deal with issues arising out of depletion of foreign reserves.
Measures taken by the government.
Sri Lankan government perceives that the policy of preceding governments over the years to import more than the revenue earned has led to the current foreign exchange reserves crisis. Loans taken from multilateral institutions have also been believed to be responsible for leading the country to a crisis situation. In addition to this, the COVID-19 pandemic has intensified the crisis, and therefore, one of the major policy priorities for the government is to reduce the import expenditure. Several other homegrown measures have also been initiated to reduce capital outflow and increase inflow to strengthen the foreign reserves. The government has approached bilateral partners for loan, credit, and currency swap facility to deal with the issue of settling import and debt. Special attention is also being given to boost investors' confidence while dealing with the crisis situation by not defaulting on debt servicing.
Accountability for war crimes.
UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Michelle Bachelet took a critical stand in her report presented during the 49th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council beginning on the 4th of March 2022 for not implementing its pledge to establish war crimes accountability mechanisms. The report also asked the government to take further steps to address the fundamental problems with the Prevention of Terrorism Act and undertake deeper legal, institutional, and security sector reforms that were critically needed to put an end to impunity and prevent any reoccurrence of past violations. Sri Lanka's attitude towards those recommendations in coming days will determine the flow of assistance from the Western countries, particularly from the EU, to deal with the economic crisis. Withdrawal of GSP Plus facility to Sri Lanka by the EU will be a big obstacle in the growth of export sector. At the domestic level, the government has to face the wrath of common people, opposition parties, and even disappointment of some of the coalition partners because of its handling of the economic crisis, pandemic, overall governance and foreign affairs. All these factors cumulatively will pose serious challenges for Sri Lanka to overcome the current crisis. Even though the government as of now has refused to approach the IMF for assistance, it might be compelled to accept the same at a later date.
Power of democracy.
On the 9th of May of 2022, Sri Lankan PM Mahinda Rajapaksa resigns as protests intensifies. Will this deepen more political and economic crisis, or will it reverse the crisis is something which we need to watch in the coming days. From the exuberance of the protesters, we can understand that in a democracy the government is indeed accountable to its people and cannot hold on to the power unless people wish for the same.